Okay, well, all right. You ready to start?
Hmm.
You want to start?
No.
All right, we are back with another episode of Lady in the Hamp. I'm Hamp, by the way, Hampton Conway III, and this is the lady.
I'm Kristen Conway.
Yeah, Kristen Conway. Even though we ain't gonna never mind, not gonna get into that. So yeah, it's been a long time. I mean, the last episode I guess was around our 1 year anniversary,
Yep.
somewhere around about,
Hmm.
which was in what month? August of last year. It's been that long.
We are going on 2 years, babe.
Wow. Okay, so we did an episode August of last year, and thought we would have had several more episodes done by now, but wow. Okay. So, there is a reason why we haven't posted or recorded anything together in some time, aside from the fact that we are both very busy people. I have a job. I got a few jobs. And you want to say why you're so busy?
I have a job and I am wrapping up my grad school journey.
Going to be a graduate next month, huh?
Amen.
So, yeah, so very, very busy time around here. And of course, that's in addition to raising a big family. So, just the time factor alone has been tough. But in addition to that, there were a lot of times where we would talk about recording, and frankly, I would just not be in the mood. Like, especially around particular part of last year and the early part of this year, like I was kind of down. I was a little bit on the depressed side, and it was very hard for me to get motivated to do some of the things that I had planned to do. And so my moods were just very much up and down, and I just wouldn't be in the mood to record, wouldn't be in the mood to do this. I did the same thing happened with my podcast. I kind of gotten away from my podcast for quite some time for some of the same reasons. And so here we are. And so I just want to be transparent about the fact that, we do intend to, we want to be consistent with this, but, for the reasons that I just mentioned, things didn't happen when we would like them to happen. And that's part of the conversation we want to have today, just with respect to my ups and downs and moodiness and depression, and how that affects you, how it affects us, how you deal with it when you recognize it, if you recognize it, you know. So, question for you. Um, do you feel like you're able to recognize when I'm either depressed or feeling some kind of way or in a mood or whatever?
Absolutely. I think that for the most part, and of course, I don't see you at work, but I see you in kind of your dealings with people, and I see you dealing with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And for the most part, you're able to turn it on for everybody. And for us, it's like, okay, by the time you get to me, you can't turn it on no more. So I can definitely recognize it because by the time you have, I guess, rallied and put everything into turning it on for the kids and turning it on for coworkers and turning it on for clients and things like that, you're spent. And so I can see just how tired and exhausted you are from putting forth that kind of energy.
Huh. That's interesting. Okay. So I know, so we took a trip to, where did we go? Mexico.
Mexico.
And it was a great trip. We had a good time. Uh, and we had intended to do an episode just specifically recapping the trip and all of that, but it's been so long now. It's been almost a year now. So, but anyway, one of the things though that did come up on the trip was my mood or my depression. And so I guess, we had started to talk about how, or I guess you mentioned that, you have to, I'm not sure how to word it, how you handle me or how you deal with me when, I'm feeling that way.
So normally I give you space. Normally I can just I'm pretty good at feeling energy, especially your energy. So I can usually tell when you just need space. And so I'm already a very busy person. I'm not at a lack of things to do. So normally I will just, move on and do some work or, do something with the kids or whatever and just kind of give you some alone time to process whatever it is that's bothering you.
Okay. All right.
I guess the question is that what you're looking for?
Space is space what I'm looking for when I'm in that place. So I will say there are times where I do need space. And I think kind of goes back to kind of what you said before about I feel bad like thinking about like what you said earlier, like I can turn it on for everybody and I get to you and I don't have the energy.
So go ahead.
but yeah, so there are times where I do feel like I need space, or just to be by myself or whatever the case may be. I think there are other times where, I guess it depends. I think there are other times where like I may not necessarily want to talk, but I still want to be around you.
Right. You still want closeness.
Right.
You still want to talk.
Right. Right. So it's not like leave me alone, get away, but it's like, hey, we can cuddle, but I ain't in the mood for conversation.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, it made me think about a video I saw. I want to say it was Angela Davis that was having a conversation long, long time ago, just about how that's kind of how it is with men. Like, they find a way, especially with work, because, you got to work. So you have to be able to turn it on at work. And then, by the time you get home, you have nothing else.
Yeah, I don't want to be like that, though.
Well, no.
So, got to figure out. Got to figure that out.
Right. So, when we were in Mexico, how that played out was a lot of times, we would always go out to eat. And when we would get back to the room, first thing you want to do is go to sleep.
Ain't that what most people want to do after they eat? How was that abnormal?
Again, I can feel energy, right? So I can feel when you are just kind of laying down and putting your head under the covers because you just don't want to deal.
Okay.
And then
So it wasn't the itis?
it was not the itis.
Oh. All right. It's interesting because I guess in the moment, I'm not sure that I recognized it.
Mm-hmm.
Like when it was happening. I think I may just attribute it to the itis or I'm sleepy. Like, but after the fact, when you said you recognized like it was me sleeping more than normal or. Because I'm good for falling asleep. But you're saying I was like going to sleep.
Yeah, it wasn't a matter of we just put something on TV and you just happen to doze. It was you turn the covers down and get in the bed and covers over the head and go to sleep.
Okay. All right. That's interesting. So, I'm curious, did you feel some type of way? Because we're on vacation and I'm over here knocking out.
I mean, of course. I'm like, we're in Mexico. We should be having fun. But at the same time, like, I knew what was happening in our lives. And so this isn't just chronic depression, right? This is more like we're going through stuff.
Right. Yeah. There was a pretty major situation going on.
Exactly. And it only makes sense.
Yeah.
So, of course, I'm not going to, I'm not a brat. Like, I'm not going to say, no, you must have fun with me right now.
I got you. Okay. Okay. So, I'm working on that, and I'm hoping that through us communicating, because I also don't want you to ever feel like when I'm in the mood or just want space that it had nothing to do with you. Do you ever feel like something you did or take it personal?
I think that that's just a human response, is to try to go back through our conversations like, was there something that could have been taken the wrong way? Is there something that I may have done, or if is there something that I'm not doing? But then you turn around and eventually your mood improves. So I think a lot of times I will ask you though, just kind of put feelers out there.
Okay. So speaking of communication, something came up while we were on vacation with respect to. I can't remember if you asked me a question about it, but basically, the situation was, or I think you mentioned or brought up the fact that sometimes when you say things to me, I don't respond.
Yeah, you'll keep moving on like I never said nothing.
And I think your question at vacation was like, was I upset about what you had said, or I can't remember what your question was exactly.
I mean, I don't remember. I mean, it's been almost a year now.
Right. Right.
But my question was more like, if you don't agree with me, or if you don't like what I said, or if what I said somehow offends you, do you just choose not to respond?
Right. Okay. So we did talk about this a little bit, so I'll explain kind of where I'm at with that and why that's the case. And this doesn't just apply to you. I think I remember telling you that. Like, it's not just you. You may make a suggestion, or you may be offering advice. You may just be throwing something out there that you've been thinking about. And it doesn't have to be you. It could be my mother. It could be my sister. It could be anybody. But particularly when it comes to like the kids, or something to do with raising the kids, or something to do with just my responsibilities, or whatever the case may be. Like, when I don't take criticism or even advice or suggestions well. I really do. My first reaction is offense. Now, with that being said, later on down the road, like, I realize that's not the proper reaction, or that's not, I know you don't mean anything by it. Like, I know you genuinely offering advice or making suggestions to help. But, and the only thing I can attribute it to is, I think, because I was in a relationship before where nothing I did was good enough, where I was constantly criticized for even just the tiniest, or not just criticized, persecuted, ridiculed, right? For just the tiniest thing. So it's like now when somebody or you make a suggestion like, hey, we should do X, Y, and Z with the kids. Or I think it would be good if, we do such and such for so and so. Like, immediately it's like, oh, you questioning my fatherhood? Like, that's, now I know I don't say that to you. I just shut down and don't say anything. Mm-hmm. But inside, that's what's happening. Right? And so I just don't say anything. I realize that, I don't respond at all, which of course I'm sure leaves you like, okay. So I'm working on that too. But yeah, I'm trying to be better about that. And I am conscious about it now. I don't know if I always give a response now. I'm sure sometimes I still don't respond. But I'm conscious of it. Like, I think I'll at least go, all right, or okay, I'll give something. But not necessarily get into a deep conversation. Because I'm still trying to work on that. I think a lot of that just has to do with, one, my overall level of just insecurity. Mm-hmm. Yeah, insecurities. And then I think on top of that, just my experience in past relationship where, everything I did was questioned or ridiculed or, that kind of thing. So it makes me feel like anytime, even like I say, even my mother, she'll make suggestions about, something I should probably think about or consider with respect to the kids or, this or that. And I don't receive it well. I don't think I've ever had that conversation with her. So if you're watching, Ma, it ain't you, it's me. I appreciate you. But yeah, so working through that too.
So when you say working through it, what does that look like?
That's a great question. So I think the main thing is just trying to.
And I mean, I say that in recognizing we all have a filter, right? So when we hear things, they all have to come through our filter.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And so it's not like this is your particular filter. This is something that is unique to you. But when you say working through it, then you just have to recognize, okay, what is the distorted thought? Counselor hat on. What is the thought that is causing me to hear suggestions, recommendations, maybe even some critique, because we all need that, in a negative way?
Yeah, I again, I think it goes back to my perception of myself. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I'm working on, trying to be more, well, the best way I can put it, I think, is focus more on what God thinks of me versus what I think of me. Mm-hmm. That's the, because if I leave it to me and the voices in my head, yeah.
Not actual voices, but
Well, yes. I don't know. But yeah, I think that's, for me, that's what I need to keep reminding myself of and focusing on. I know, I mean, it's kind of a tangent, but like, I know there's a lot of talk about self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of talk about, you can go into a bookstore and self-help section and it's a rack of stuff on self-esteem. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? And for me, I can't get to self-esteem without first going through God esteem.
Okay.
So because if I'm just focusing on self, that ain't gonna get me where where I need to be. Cause
Mm-hmm.
self for me
Mm-hmm.
ain't ain't got it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so, um, rather if I do focus on, okay, this is how God made me.
Mm-hmm.
This is how God designed me. He
Mm-hmm.
He made me this way for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he gave me the talents and the gifts He gave me for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and God cares about me,
Mm-hmm.
and God loves me, and so on and so forth. Like, I got to keep reminding myself of those things. That makes me feel good about me,
Mm-hmm.
not just me trying to come up with things to feel good about me. I don't know if that makes sense,
It does.
but
It absolutely makes sense. So, do you think that that's something that you can start your day with?
so yes, I've been lately. My focus has been more specifically on just being thankful and being grateful. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I've been trying to really practice thankfulness and gratefulness every day. And I think I talked about this in my last podcast too. That
Mm-hmm.
like whatever's stressing me out or whatever's causing me to be upset or anxious,
Mm-hmm.
like focus on that specific thing
Mm-hmm.
and try to think of some things to be grateful about that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if money is stressing me out,
Mm-hmm.
then I need to think of some things that I can be grateful for with respect to money and finances.
Mm-hmm.
Then it kind of helps take away the sting of whatever's really going
Right,
on
and
with
just
the
kind of
finances,
reframes
right?
it.
So, if yeah, so it's just things like that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if there's something going on with the kids that's
Mm-hmm.
upsetting me or stressing me out, well,
Mm-hmm.
then I try to think of, I think of things that I'm grateful for
Mm-hmm.
about my children. Even if everything isn't going the way I want it to go
Mm-hmm.
at the time. So that's kind of where I am now with that. I know that doesn't necessarily go back to the esteem, but um, that's kind of just a practical thing I'm doing for me
Mm-hmm.
that helps me. Because that helps me to not kind of go
Down the rabbit hole.
right to the dark place.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Um, so I have to have, really, really have to have strategies to like keep myself from going down the rabbit hole, going to
Mm-hmm.
the dark place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I mean, I reiterate that this is not anything that's unique, right? This is something that at some point in time we all deal with. If you have not dealt with it before, you will deal with it at some point because we all have our battles. We all will come to some point where it causes us to question our own abilities, to question our own resources, to question our own support systems,
Yeah.
you know.
And I have to say, like, I was telling you, and I was telling a friend recently, and I want to tell everybody that I guess where I am in life right now, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, uh, I think going back to even what you said earlier, like I feel, I feel, I feel bad in a sense for. I know, especially early on in our relationship, I felt like I was always burdening you with my stuff. Like, it was like, Lord, this girl done, got in a relationship with me or married me, and I have all this stuff going on. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And, I would feel bad about that sometimes. I would feel like it was lopsided because I know in a relationship we're supposed to, support each other. Mm-hmm. And there are often times where I feel like you doing all the supporting, like, because I'm always like in a space, Do you ever feel like that?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. So which leads me to the point that I was wanting to make is like, I don't know. I can't imagine navigating all of this with anybody else. Mm. Like, I feel like God gave you everything you need to deal with me and support me. And he gave you everything I need from you. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just wild because I swore I would never get married again. But I also know and realize now that, like, my journey would be so much harder if I didn't have you. So, appreciate you. Yeah.
And also to recognize, like, it is not every day.
Right.
And so when we were talking about having this conversation, on our video, I wanted to make sure that it was clear that, like, this is not every day. This is not every day. Like, it's not every day that, he's struggling or, there are definitely more good days than not that, you come home and you're in a good mood or, we have really good weekends. So it's not like it's all the time that you're stressed out and tired and don't feel like talking and, that's not the case. But you do have your days, and it's, one of those things where we just have to determine, okay, is this a day where you want to cuddle? Is this a day where you want to talk? Is this a day where you want to just be left alone? And I think that you also have to you have to know that this is a safe space to be able to say that, to be able to say, you know what, I probably need a little bit of space today.
So that is one thing. Like, I do feel like me not talking is never about me being worried about what you're going to think or what you're going to say. Like, that's not a thing. That's been a thing in past relationships, right? But with you, like, I know I can bring anything to you and it's going to be heard and we'll be able to discuss it. And, I ain't got to worry about you snapping on me or nothing like that. So that is, like, I do definitely feel that. So, me being quiet a lot of times is me processing, how I am, especially after, like, something big happens. And I'm sure you were, like, waiting for me to, like, talk to you about it. But, sometimes, like, for me, it's like I can't articulate things until I've had a chance to really process it, because then I don't want to articulate what I'm thinking or feeling in the wrong way. So it's never about not feeling like it's a safe space. I know that for sure. Like, so, and that's really a good listen. If you ain't got somebody that you can take all your stuff to, no matter what it is, and feel like it's going to be a safe space and a mature, calm conversation, no matter what you bring in, then you need to evaluate who you with. Okay?
And not to say, like, I am not made of sugar and spice and everything nice, like, yes, all the time.
Yes, she is. She is. With me, anyway. I don't know how she be talking to other folks, but she gentle with me. So maybe she do all her cursing people out, like, on somewhere else, so, she ain't got none of that left for me. She gets it out somewhere else.
Okay. All right.
See. So, hey, I think that's it. I think that's all we got for now. Appreciate y'all for hanging there with us.
Mm-hmm.
And we definitely have more things we want to discuss and share.
Mm-hmm.
So we are going to try to be more consistent than we have been. And don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel. You can also check out my podcast, the Get Fat Podcast. It's on all the major platforms. You can go to my website, hamptonconway.com, and get to it there too. But yeah, we'll be back with some more of the lady and the hat.
Yeah, and don't forget, like, we would love to have this conversation with you all in the comment section. So make sure you leave comments, and we will respond in the comments, and we will have some great conversation there.
For sure. If you can relate to any of this, you know, or if you just want to comment about how handsome I look on screen, she will understand. That's cool too. Or you can talk about how pretty she looks. Huh? You can do that too. I don't mind. Give her a shout out. All right. So, all right. So that's
Alrighty.
it. Peace.
Thanks for watching.